Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jackie, and today we'll be doing this really easy, beautiful evening look. But before we start today's video, I just want to talk about Dossier. They were kind enough to send me 2 perfumes. Dossier is a perfume company that only delivers the best quality, luxury-inspired fragrances at a fair and transparent price that allows you to explore new scents. I've actually been looking into Dossier way before they reached out to me, and what drew me to this company is they have luxury-inspired scents for a fraction of the cost. And what I love about this company is their trial period. Every scent that you order comes in a large 50 ml bottle as well as a sampler size. So what you do is, if you like the sampler size, you just keep this package and you pay for this perfume set. Or if you don't like the sampler, you keep the bigger bottle unopened and you send the entire thing back for full refund and free return. Because all these scents are luxury brand inspired, they're actually really close to the actual thing. But unfortunately, because I am too broke to afford the original, I can only speak on what I've smelled at Sephora. But I do think that this one I have specifically, I have Fruity Jasmine, and this is supposedly inspired by Dior's J'adore, and I would say this is almost spot on. I just think this is a little sweeter than the actual one. But nonetheless, this is beautiful. It lasts for hours on the skin, and as it develops, the base notes come out, and I love how it smells with my natural body. The second scent I got is actually a unisex scent, which I have been looking into recently. So this one I have here is the Musky green tea, and the top notes are green tea, bergamot, and mandarin. And I just love the base notes. They are musk, sandalwood, and orris. And this is actually inspired by Creed's Silver Mountain Water. And I know that is such an expensive perfume. They run for like a few $100s, and I don't have money for that. So when I saw this on the website, I just had to ask for this, and it smells so good. And I do think this is more on the masculine side. It's just a little more like fuckboy-ish. And I just love how this smells on me when the top notes dissipate and it just leaves the sandalwood and all the muskiness. It just smells like a woman. And these bottles are such high quality. They're completely glass, and there's a magnetic closure. The fact that these perfumes only range from $29 to $49, and it comes in such a luxurious bottle with a magnetic closure that most luxurious brands do not, it just blows my mind. And if you guys want to check it out, I actually have a coupon code for you guys that will be linked in the description down below. Let's get on with today's video. So starting off, I'm just going to prime my face. This is the Beauty Creations Flawless Stay Hydrating Primer, and I do actually love this a lot. It gives me like the perfect amount of moisture while still locking my makeup into place. So while we're gonna let the primer sit, I'm just going to be doing my brows lightly. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Brow Wow in the shade, I think this is dark brown. And then this is the only thing I do with my brows. I just usually brush it in lightly. And I like to like furrow my brows a little bit because it kind of like accentuates a little arc, so it's easier for me. So now that the primer has set, I'll be going in with the e.l.f. Camo CC Concealer. This is actually my new favorite because it just matches my skin tone so perfectly. And I have this in the shade Light 240W. And this has SPF in it, so you really don't need any more. So I usually do about 2 pumps on my hand, and then I go in with like a little brush. This brush is also from e.l.f. It is their buffing foundation brush, and then I just dot a few on my face, and then I'm just going to be buffing it out. Next, I'm just going to be using a beauty blender and damping it with some rose water. This is a sponge from ColourPop. Because this has a silicone center, it does not absorb product as much. I'm using a sponge to tap the product into my face so it sets better. It gets all the excess products off your face, which I love because it gives you such a flawless finish. Now that our base is done, I'll be going into concealer. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Peach. And because this is so pigmented, I usually go light-handed. So I would make a few dots, draw a line, and then if it's not enough coverage, I'll go in again, but I think we're good for today. I'm using the same beauty blender to push all the products together so it meshes in perfectly. Now that we're all looking one color, we're going to be bronzing up our face with this e.l.f. bronzer. This is their bronzer in Forever Sun-Kissed. And I'll be going in with a kabuki brush just because it diffuses the products more evenly. This one is from Wet n Wild. And we're just going to go in circular motions around our cheekbone, right under the highest point. This is where you're going to bronze. So it kind of lifts up your face. And then I just like to do a little on the nose just for fun. And then I like to bring it a little like around my jawline just for a little more warmth. Okay, and then for blush, I'll be using this e.l.f. Primer Infused blush in the shade Always Earthy. I'm taking this really fluffy, I think it's a powder brush from AOA Studio, and then we're just gonna go light-handed because this is so pigmented. So we're gonna tap off all the excess and then kind of work our way in. You have to be really careful with this product because it is super pigmented, and if you don't tap off the excess, you may look like an Oompa Loompa. And the whole point of this evening look is supposed to be subtle, because you are going to be dining by candlelight, so you don't need that much. And then this is optional, but I do like to set my face with powder just because I feel like it wears better under a mask. So I'm just going to be taking some translucent powder on a microfiber sponge. This one is from Beauty Bay. I'm going to be going lightly under the eyes to set the concealer. I know we look crazy right now, but we're not done yet. And then we're gonna go under our cheek. You don't want to drag it out too much. You just want it right under those cheekbones. And I find that with a sponge like this, it's so much better with the powder because it doesn't absorb. And then taking a like whatever fluffy brush, this one's from Wet n Wild, we're just gonna brush off the under eye really quick. My forehead is super oily, so I'll be using the translucent powder just lightly on the T-zone, so it's like right here, like right in between my brows, and a little bit around the nose area. I like to hold my nose because that crease right there is like the most problematic for me. And now that our whole face is done, we're gonna go back into the eyes. So for the eyes, I'll be starting off the base with this really nice neutral tan shade. This is actually from Coastal Scents. It is their single pot shadows, and I believe they're about like $2, which is such a steal because you get to try out so many different colors at such an affordable price. They're also not paying me to say this. I just genuinely enjoy the eyeshadows. Their shadows were one of the first ones I ever played with because they were so affordable, and it is quite pigmented. I followed my natural crease, and then I'm just going to be winging it out a little bit because you know me, I love a nice elongated eye moment. Okay, now going with like a C dome brush, we're going to take a little concealer and we're going to carve out our eyelid. And then we're going to be going into the Beauty Bay Bright Matte palette, and we're going to be using a pretty neutral shade. It is called Bare Necessity. Using a smaller brush, and we're just going to be laying it on top of the concealer, setting it a little bit, and then we're going to get an even tinier brush. We're going to be dipping into Purple Pecan and a little bit of that Bare Necessity to diffuse it, and we're going to be going right around our crease, and again we're going to wing it out. And then using the first brush that we were using, we're just going to go back into Bare Necessity and then the Coastal Scents palette, and we're going to diffuse our little outer corner. Both of these shadows are so pigmented, so be sure to go really light-handed. And then taking the smaller brush that we were using, we're going to go back into the Coastal Scents palette and bring that into our lower lash line. And I usually don't like to go all the way. I stop around like halfway. Okay, now it's time for lashes, and I'll be right back. And it's not an evening look without a evening perfume. This one I have is Fruity Jasmine by Dossier. Now you look and smell like a dream. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.